Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and welcome on board our discussion. I am your host, BJC. Our story today originates in New Delhi, India, the home base of Air India, the country's flag carrier. Let's examine its legacy and why it's just made aviation history. Known as AI in the industry, the airline was founded by Tata Group in 1932, and it was subsequently nationalized 20 years later. The airline had a reputation for being a leading airline. It was amongst the best, similar to Emirates today. Their 747s, which were retired recently, had unmatchable comfort. They were the best. But as airlines in the Middle East ramped up their operations, the airline found themselves in a difficult position. They could no longer compete with foreign carriers on crucial international routes such as BOM to DXB, Mumbai to Dubai, for those who don't know aviation newspeak. And before the takeover of the Tatas, the airline was severely mismanaged. The fleet, the destinations, nothing was working as it used to, and the airline was no longer luxurious. You see, Air India has a very interesting fleet. For a while, they used to have very old aircraft still operating. So, like the 2 or 3, I think, remaining 747s. Well, they were partly used by the government. That changed in 2021 when the government took delivery of 2 brand new 777s. Well, brand new, they were retrofitted, but they are way newer than the 747s. So the airline, not really seeing much of a use for the 747 anymore, decided to withdraw them. So they still were active for a while, whilst not that much on international routes. They used to fly a lot between Delhi and Hyderabad. One must understand that aircraft was probably the most amazing when it was delivered in the 1990s. It hasn't been really retrofitted since, and some of the seats have really shown their age, especially the first class with very, very small in-flight entertainment, something which people are not used to today, especially flying first class, when you compete with stuff like Emirates or even Vistara, which offer lie flat beds. Those were angle flat, but again, in the 90s that was pretty good. So that's now gone. And they now have a mixed fleet of like 777-300s and the 787 Dreamliner, the youngest of which are the Dreamliners, the Dash 8s, the smaller variant. They are roughly 10 years old. But they face a major problem. They are in severe disrepair. Some of the passengers have complained that the in-flight entertainment, so it features a USB charging port, and in most of the fleet, that does not work anymore, which is quite problematic because the airline still sells tickets at prices that reflects their history of being a luxurious airline, but the service offered is very mediocre. Hopefully this can change. The airline has gone back in the hands of Tata, but after like 60 odd years of being operated by the government. And besides, the Tata Group have experience now working with world-tier airlines again, such as Singapore Airlines, who are arguably the best airline in the world. With them, in 2013, they launched an airline called Vistara. Allegedly, they are the best in India, but that is highly contested due to basically crews that don't behave well. But that's a subject for another debate. So when Tata took over, they got an airline with an international route map that is adequate, but that doesn't reach its full potential. So according to Fortune magazine, the India-US aviation market in terms of routes is worth about $7 billion today. Unfortunately for Air India, they only use around 17% of this market. Instagram aviation expert and influencer Tampa Airport Spotting indicates that some of the future routes that could be used for Air India to tap into that market could be destinations such as Seattle. According to aviation expert Tampa Airport Spotting on Instagram, Air India wants to tap into that potential market, and to do so, not only will they take over 6 777-200 ERs that used to formerly belong to Delta Airlines, they will also probably open routes alongside that. So the rumored destinations in the coming years will be the likes of Houston and the likes of Dallas, Atlanta, Boston, and Seattle. Routes which are not served. Obviously, the ones that are served right now are Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco, and also Washington. So how will they fulfill this potential new route? Well, initially it was a rumor. Air India was rumored to order around 500 aircraft. We didn't know who from, and we didn't know what the aircraft would be. That rumor became reality 2 days ago. Air India has announced that they will take delivery of a total of 470 aircraft. Those 470 aircraft are 220 Boeings, so that's 190 737 Maxes, 20 Dreamliners, and 10 Boeing 777Xs, and 470 Airbus aircraft. So that's 34 A350-1000s, 140 A320neos, 6 A350-9, and 70 A321neos. So that is roughly it's almost a total revamp of their fleet. It's taking basically all of their old aircraft and retiring them, and that's massive. But in between the time they will be delivered and now they need a stopgap, so that will be heading to the second-hand market, which, by the way, is absolutely huge. So there's also a lot of leeway, especially given they've already retired their flagship 747 that did their best obviously in the 1990s but just weren't adapted anymore, but that I've already touched on earlier. When it comes to the mega order, so there is some doubt in the industry. On Instagram, one of my followers, who's a frequent flyer, had this to say. So I think the ownership of Tata will change things for Air India. I think it's good that they're back into private ownership, and it's a brilliant start. But I don't believe that we will see these planes be delivered anytime soon, and a majority of them will be either pushed back or cancelled. Air India's fleet is aging. It needs to be replaced. The addition of new planes is essential for the airline's future, and a large deal is also a massive marketing stunt, which is really good for the airline. He's also really happy that, contrary to other takeovers like ITA, the brand of Air India is still there, whereas ITA in Italy, used to be Alitalia. The name's changed. So for that, he's really happy. I personally really welcome this move by Air India. I think that it's brilliant for the country. It's brilliant for the airline, it's brilliant for the customer, it's brilliant for everyone. They just need to change a few things. So they need to make sure that the quality of the service is the same as the price that they pay. They need to really rethink their network management and probably recenter on the place to connect between the US and Australia, or between Europe and Australia, and effectively become an alternative to the Middle East, which is a good way to connect but sometimes very expensive. Air India represents a country with an amazing culture, amazing food, fantastic people. It has a lot of potential, and I believe that this order is step one in many, but a massive step. It's a door opener for the airline. I think that if after that they focus on training the crew to proper standards, tackling on poor behaviour by passengers, and this is already being done by the Indian government. The Indian National Airline Safety, I forgot the name of it, but they already are cracking down on passengers misbehaving. Air India had a problem with that, with recently passengers urinating on other passengers. This used to be, frowned upon and, not acted on by the government, by the law enforcement, and this has now changed. The person has been brought to justice, and the case is still ongoing, but, it's it's a good thing. The reputation is being restored. Once that is done, the airline that used to be called a Maharaja, so I believe that means the king or the queen, will come back. Air India will be back in its glory days. Tata wants to do that because Tata, they were the ones who made Air India the Emirates of the 1930s to the 1950s. I am way more positive than my follower on that. The next subject for the next episode will be aircraft Wi-Fi and how it operates and the economics behind it. So much like today, if you want to participate and give your opinion, send me a message, and with a bit of chance you will be featured in my next episode. But in the meantime, enjoy your day, look up to the sky, and take care.